while he's doing that, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Our presenter is Mr. Elliott Ligget. Sorry. And he's a local maker in the Wayne County area. And the goal is each quarter to have another maker come in and give a talk about how they became a maker and what they're doing now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Elliott.
Thank you. Good evening. First of all, I want to assure you that this is just a hobby. It may look like nuclear science, but it's a hobby that I've been pursuing for many, many years. And this is culminated in what I call Muon telescopes. They are ways to determine the direction that the muons are coming from. First of all, to detect them, and then to come up with the relative directions they are flying through the air. Those are the first three here. But let me go on with my presentation. In order to understand what I'm doing, you have to know a little bit about radiation. Sources of radiation, what here is called radiogenic. Those are part of the Earth, basically. Those are cosmogenic. Those are from outer space. Radiogenic, some people will call terragenic, but that get mixed up in the other terms, so I'm sticking with radiogenic. For what's typically on Earth, there we use three forms of radiation. Alpha and beta are actually particles. The alpha particle is a helium nucleus with 2 electrons and 2 neutrons. A beta particle is an electron, and gamma rays are somewhat different, and they have far greater penetration. You can see that the alpha particle is stopped by a sheet of paper, beta particle is stopped by a thin sheet of aluminum, and the gamma rays can penetrate lead, which they can stop. Just to have some idea of where the radiation comes from, I picked the element thorium. Thorium is very radioactive, and as you can see, it gives off, I'm looking for my point. It gives off the alpha and beta particles as it deteriorates into radium, and then it goes through several steps until it finally reaches stable lead. It's no longer radioactive. All radioactive materials are destined to end up as lead. The other source of radiation, I try to bring it together so people can see, is basically gamma rays and X-rays. So all of these rays, including ultraviolet light, infrared, microwave, and radio waves, they are all particles called they're photons. In this case, the photons have very high frequency, so they can penetrate, gamma rays, X-rays can penetrate. But as you get into light, and you see for all the colors of the spectrum, they don't exactly penetrate our bodies like these do. And radio waves, they get longer and longer. This is the dual property of a photon. It has a wave particle as well as energy. Now, the other source of radiation we see is the cosmic rays. The cosmic ray shower is initiated in the upper atmosphere, about 10,000 kilometers. But I'm most interested in the muons. It's listed right here. Now, when it's formed as a collision with something else along the way. Here, it's traveling at 99.8% the speed of light. Its lifetime, I don't know how they do it, but it's 2.2 microseconds. And in that time, it can only travel about 660 meters. However, and then it disintegrates. However, the muon can penetrate all the way into solid rock, as you can see down in the bottom over here. Now, how is that possible if it already disintegrated after about 2.2 microseconds at 660 meters? How can it still go all the way from 10,000 kilometers and still penetrate rock and earth. This is a phenomenon called time dilation. It's hard for me to grasp also. But what happens when things travel somewhere near the speed of light, the time they see is different than the time that we see looking at them. And so in this case, this was something that Albert Einstein came up with in his theories. Time dilation would professionally go towards the speed of light. The slower the time is that you perceive, even though somebody on the outside looking in would see you going at, very high speed, but not when you're traveling at that speed. Again, it's tough to grasp, but it's called time dilation. Now, among these cosmic ray showers are the different particles: muons, positrons, electrons, photons. I'm most interested in the muon. That's why it's called chasing the elusive muon. Just so you have some idea about the radiation that I'm looking at in my cloud chamber here, there are two main types that you see. The alpha particles are heavier, they carry a large charge of +2, but you see they are very wide and broad because they don't go very far. The other one are beta particles. In this case, you can see it's a curve here. This was taken in this cloud chamber that has a very strong magnet, and so it's an electron, and so it bends its path. A magnetic field of the electron because its charge is curved. And it helps me know and recognize other beta particles because of this curve. Now then, in the cloud chamber that is operating right now, here's a typical beta particle. As it starts out and it's being bent by the magnetic field, it hits something. And it spins off some other little particle. Maybe it hits a dust particle, another atom. Something's knocked off, or another beta particle. It travels on and then it hits something again and splits off. So there's many interactions taking place in the cloud chamber like this that you can see. In this case, here is an alpha particle because it's very broad, but it hits something and it changes its course. Again, I can't tell you what particle it hit, but it was heavy enough that it deflected that alpha particle. This is my pride and joy. What you see are two beta particles. Something came in here and hit this guy, knocked off a negative electron and a positive electron. In this case, this is matter and antimatter. This is a positive, and this is a negative charge. What hit? If we go back to that chart where I showed you the photons, a gamma ray, which can't be seen in the cloud chamber, is the likely cause of this collidative. Now, this is a phenomenon that was discovered by our Dr. Compton from the College of Wooster. It's called a Compton effect, or Compton scattering, where he used X-rays in a cloud chamber, very similar to this, to show that there are particles knocked out of range by incoming gamma ray, or X-ray in this case. And so that's why I'm sure pretty much what this is, but it was his way of showing that actually light has mass. All photons have some mass, able to do this, to create a physical interaction that can be observed in the cloud chamber. But again, it hits, split off the positive, the negative, and the positive. The positive came along and hits something else and spinning out. That hits something else. Again, all these interactions are very interesting to me from cloud chamber. And this is another beta particle, which is showing how much of a curve it can take in the cloud chamber because of the magnet. Now, I'm going to move on to the Muon telescope. Muon, as we described in the minutes, it's a very short life. How do you capture it? So what I've done, starting very, very early on, I started building little gamma ray particle detectors. These are actually developed by a guy at MIT. He did it for his PhD thesis. And he did an awful lot of experimenting with it. But what about is detecting particles? Did you see it flashing quite often? The common detector is a Geiger. This is far more sophisticated, far more sensitive than just a normal Geiger. So the next thing I did is I stacked one of these scintillation detectors on top of each other. And you can see only one is flashing, but it's set for collision mode, so that it will only record the second detector when a particle goes through both of them at the same time, or as nearly as possible at the same time. And so the count right now is I may have 6,188 hits on the top, but only 496 on the bottom. But again, this one only fires when a particle goes through both of them. Not just one of them, but just two, has to go through both of them. That's how it detects it. So I built on that a little bit. I said, well, this isn't telling me much, what direction are they coming from? So I went on to fall back on Geiger counters because the stimulation detectors were too expensive to put a bunch of them together. If you can see this, I have two Geiger counters, and one on top of it are separated by a sheet of lead. And in order to measure the angle that they're coming, I can rotate this, and then I have a new thermometer here and read the angle. That way I can take readings out of that, and that, and that, and that. But it's only the reading is not that interesting. I have to plot the direction. Again, it wasn't as fun. I can't demonstrate it as well. So I went to radial Geiger counters. And as you see, each one of these has an individual flash. There will be a light here, for the two Geiger counters that are there, one on top of the other. It's one stacked like this in different angles. But again, you'll see that that's a firing one of the Geiger, but then eventually you will see a flash of light. That's when the particle has gone through two Geiger counters simultaneously, or nearly simultaneously. As fast as you can, do the speed of light. So it doesn't happen all the time, but then I can read there, like that. I can record how many are occurring at these different angles. And so the vast number of them come from straight up. And the further away from vertical, the number of muons that I can detect is less and less and less until we get the horizontal. Muons, though they can penetrate the earth, but do not come up through the earth. That's far too big a difference, too much mass for them to come through. So you're able to see, get some idea, feel for them. There's greater one, see this is reading about 87, this has been running for about a half hour. And 87 at the vertical, when I have 11 on the horizontal. That's gives you some idea. This one was intended to be a little bit more sensitive, but I think in transportation that something's wrong with it. Two of the units are not functioning right, but I just let it stimulate flash. People notice flashing lights. Yes?
If you rotated the top one 180 degrees, would you find an inverse proportion of the same thing?
Yeah. You just turn it upside down, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. Same thing. Okay. Finally, talk a little bit about the cloud chamber. This is once you brought a focus. Not too bad. You can see the fine lines here. It doesn't show on my screen. What it will show on my screen? It does not. Okay, I have to use the finger. Again, the very, very fine thin lines that you see will be beta particles, and they generally are curved because of the magnet. The other heavy, thick ones like that are the alpha. So it's this unit, the cloud chamber itself. part of it is a Peltier module. It's ceramic disc. It has thermoelectric particles inside of it. You put electricity to it, one side gets very cold, the other side gets very hot. And since heat wants to travel from hot to cold, you have to have a means for taking that heat away from it. So you need a radiator like this. And with a radiator, this pulls the heat away from the bottom so the top can get colder and colder. And they can reach temperatures of minus 40 degrees centigrade with this. You need that for the cloud chamber to operate like this. Now then, that's basically everything I have to say. Are there any questions? Oh, please.
What inside of the cloud chamber that we're seeing right now, what is that straight line that
That's the reflection of the lights that are in there. Even if I don't have this light shield on it, I get sometimes other reflections of lights up above when they're brighter. So I can't, since the chamber walls are made out of glass, they reflect, well, I have to illuminate it to be able to see the particles in the cloud. And this is done by this, I use isopropyl alcohol. It soaks a little wick at the top here and it heats up just from room temperature. The alcohol kind of wants to sink to the bottom and form the cloud. As the cloud gets heavier and more dense, and then these charged particles, you can see it in the cloud.
So really what we're seeing is a disturbance in the cloud.
Yes, it's the particle, charged particle goes through it and deposits the charge on the alcohol. And they will all of a sudden collapse on each other. And they will not happen. Then you can see them. Now, going back to Compton, the cloud chamber was invented by Liggett in Scotland. Last name was Wooster. A few years after he invented the cloud chamber so that he could study cloud formation of all things. But he wanted to nuclear particles. Compton comes along and uses the cloud chamber to radiate the cloud chamber with X-rays. You then see these random particles coming out. That soon became known as the Compton effect, or Compton scatter, as I showed you here. And he and the other man got the Nobel Prize in 1927, something like that, because of this discovery. One for the cloud chamber, the other for the nuclear, for the speakers, particle scattering. And you all will refer here. Now then, the bigger one down at the bottom is more accurate for the direction, because you see the spacing between the magnitudes is about 14 degrees, and so there's a small window of aperture for the particles to come in, and that lets you know a little more accurately where it's at, compared to this, where the aperture is 60 degrees. So I'm picking up a big chunk of the sky, so I get more input to this, though less accurate than I do for this. Taking the data from all the way around this one specifically, you can see that over here at 0, the counts are relatively low. As you get to the top, they're much higher. It's supposed to follow an inverse sine wave, and in this case it sort of does, but I think it has to do with how the calibration of the Geiger tubes. I have no way of really calibrating each Geiger tube to be the same as the other in the setup. Now then, how can the muon telescope be used? Well, it's a great hobby. I like that. But in this case, several researchers found that since muons can penetrate mountains, penetrate many meters into the rock, they decided they were able to map the inside of a pyramid. And lo and behold, they discovered a secret chamber inside of this that they never knew before.
Which pyramid is this?
I cannot tell you, it's one of the regions, they have a name for it. I wish I could tell you. Pointer over here. They found, since they had their detector was here, the Queen's chamber, they were able to observe this 45-degree angle out in space. They found in this general area a very large pocket that has never been discovered before. So, not everybody can map the inside of a pyramid. And so they're also mapping the inside of mountains to see where the volcanic action. They use the same two process. Now, if you're really interested, I present this radiation dose chart. I tell you, you're all exposed to radiation. It's muons that penetrate your body all the time. It's part of our heritage, it's part of our inheritance, it's part of our genealogy. It's affecting our genes all the time in small ways, but it's there with us. This gives you some idea of, and I'm not going to try to explain all of it, but you see these minute doses up here that we see every day. If you build, if you get more and more, but you really got to get a healthy dose to be deadly dose. And that's it. Any questions? We're good then. I like this. Yes. Go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, do they use this in the space station up there? Maybe compare.
I do not know that, but it could very well be used there.
And compare maybe down here
Yes,
versus.
yeah. I think cosmic rays, as they want to call them, are so random. We struggle to find exactly what the initiating, what kind of call it, not molecule, particle. They're not even sure of that. But they know that there's some particle that comes from outer space. It's usually from some exploding star, maybe floating around for the last 20 billion years or whatever. Or maybe 14 billion. But it comes in and hits something in the outer atmosphere, and that creates this rain of other particles that fall down the Earth. And most of them are moving about the speed of light. They're very close. Okay, anything else? Yes.
Addition to hers about the outer space, did they put muon detectors on like the rovers that they brought to the moon or Mars?
I don't think so. I'm not sure of that, but that wouldn't be a good place for them. There's so little space and weight to allow for whatever experiments they run. And right now, muon detection isn't a big one. But I'm sure it's someday it will work. Okay, did I help? Yeah.
So where do you buy these dagger counters and to assemble?
Even.
Anywhere? Really? eBay? I thought you would say Walmart or something.
I had ordered these special.
So they're just available for sale.
Pardon?
They're just available for sale?
The parts are.
Parts are.
Parts are. This does not come as a kit. You have to be very diligent about getting all the parts and pieces, the assimilated material.
Right.
As a matter of fact, these were pretty expensive, so I got to make my own. Didn't get buying a big block of them and cutting them and polishing. It was a pain in the always pain. That's amazing with black plastic. Okay, yeah.
How did you become a maker and interested in the?
Well, I started out telling them this was a hobby. And my friends say, what? What kind of hobby is that? What is fun? I think I have more ability in putting things together like you explaining what the world are doing. And I apologize for that. I studied the science of building. Science is, my background is mostly engineering, not necessarily, nuclear physics. So I can do the best I can with what I know, and I explain it the way I want it to be. Yes, surely you have another question. No, okay.
Why is it interesting to you?
What's that?
Why? Why is it interesting to you?
Well, for one reason, most people don't do it. It's something I can do. My children used to use the experience that I do. And I do belong to a makerspace for the new players and stuff like that. But this doesn't fall in that. You know, and even they don't understand what it is or why I do it. Yeah, why does what people climb around?
Well, there's an end goal, right? And for most things, you know, just
The goal for me is the satisfaction of making something more. In this case.
Do you have any suggestion how to nurture young makers?
Well, I can go with that this discussion. I am part of a maker group on the Schantz Makerspace, where we teach young kids how to make 3D printers, how to program our muons, things like that. So it's open up to all ages. If you're interested, I can get you information about the Schantz Makerspace. We formerly out of the main county center. Our center, we moved to actually custom for the facilities right now. But it's been ongoing for 5 years. We've taught probably close to 300 people doing different projects. Even printers that were very popular. And I've spent, I don't know, countless hours repairing those printers for the industry. Yeah, I would like young people to be involved with the industry or in the work, science, and innovation. I don't know if it's interesting everybody.
I think it's coming back. I mean, it's so easy to go out and just buy things nowadays.
Yes.
I see that even at their school, there is some efforts trying to bring more makerspace.
Yeah, I don't know what makerspace is trying to do, but it's appropriate. Anything else?
It's all the Maker Faire thing. And
Oh, yeah. This is how I got chapter to do this. Once a year, we have like a Maker Faire. It's not just our maker space, but it's anybody who makes anything, any kind of hobby. This would be, making airplanes, it would be growing special ways of growing things, hydroponics, weaving, muons, what is it? Feeding printers. It takes place once a year at the Akron University facilities in Portland. And it's not the Schantz Makerspace, it's actually sponsored by Make magazine. And they have Maker Fairs worldwide. The ones in California and New York are monstrous. We may have 40 or 50 makers in Orville, but over there they have 500. And they have projects as big as rooms, or as small as what you already have. But it's started by this Make magazine, and unfortunately, whatever, we have a maker group in Oregon reported in their makers to put out by Muon telescope. And so when we had additional Make magazine comes along and writes me a letter that says, could you please write an article about this? And I think, oh, here we go. Again, this must be fun, not a job. All right, anything else?
I'm taking, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Um,
You got good questions.
how often do you do one of these things? Or is this your
This
first
is my
time?
first time. And he's not gonna ask me back. Because he's seen it once. Well, this is about my third time doing this sort of presentation. So, yes.
I'm just gonna ask, how long did it take to build the culture?
Several years.
several years.
to get it to where it's at. And but one of the problems, of course, is to maintain the focus of the camera. I wish I could remain focused. It gets fuzzy and it's not a good view. So what I do normally, I get it running really good, and then I turn on the camera. I let the camera run. I take movies of the chamber, and then I go back through countless frames and look at each one of those frames and then pick out the best ones that I can show on the screen. What you see right now is just a bare demonstration of what it is out of focus, unfortunately. But you know, you got some idea. I wish it would run a little bit quieter too. Oh, well, there's something I missed. I want to photograph a Muon. That seems like something really difficult to do, is traveling really speed of light. And what I've arranged here, on either side here, are these two detectors. And they're set for coincidence, where a particle will go through, but it also have a relay, so that it trips the shutter on my camera if a muon goes through. But when it comes through horizontal, if you remember, horizontal is the least likely way to catch a muon. It was the only way, because my cloud is barely a centimeter tall. And so I can't put a camera underneath and above. All I see is a dot. And so hoping to see a muon go through, just straight through, I put a detector here and a detector there. And as of this point, out of 3,000 hits on that side, I've got 3 on this side. So it's, and then I'll go back and I'll look at the film, or look at the camera. And if it's without focus, I may not have seen much, but the idea is I have to go back and look for it. But I've gotten some really good shots of muons. I'm surprised that I didn't have a slider there with this. But I would have a copy.
Thanks.
Next. Yeah. Anything else? Go for it.
How long have you been doing this since you started getting interested in this sort of thing?
About 50 years. When I wrote my first poetry. 26, no, 60 years. How's that? But back then we used dry ice. And that was kind of used to handle it. But it was very effective. This dot is good as dry ice, but it's far easier to handle. I can pick it up and walk around with it easy.
So you do it for fun, but you see any future applications to what you're doing?
Short of most speeches, you can never go.
As far as the science goes?
Not me personally, but I think there are people with far more money can build detectors and far more accurate and bigger. But if you can map what's inside the mountain, or map what's inside the pyramid, there's got to be a bigger, more application for us.
So that has to be the core of what you're trying to measure, so you can measure the particles coming through.
Yes. I've seen pictures, in this case, that show the detector on the inside of each chamber, but I've also seen pictures in which they set up their detector on the outside, so they're shooting from, coming through the pyramid itself. I think that gave them kind of inconclusive information, and so we got far better results by being on the inside of the passing through 2 different walls of the pyramid. Now, have I seen any other applications of this? I'm happy to find something where they have on the pyramid. Okay, how we doing? Are we way out? That's it.
All right, we thank him very much for, if you want to give him a round of applause. Thank you.